Hello Internet, Dan here from DansTube.TV, and today I'm showing you guys how you can mount a 360-degree camera or a GoPro or really any sort of action camera to the top of your Mavic Pro with this simple battery mount. The battery mount is a low $8.11 on Amazon. I will have the link in the description below to check this little bad boy out. I will warn you guys though, this is a 3D printed mount, so just be mindful, it is a little bit cheap, and I would highly recommend actually putting an elastic band around the mount as well, just to make sure. It basically clips onto the actual buttons of your battery, and it does work quite well, but like I mentioned, it is quite cheap. 3D printed, the materials aren't extremely reliable or robust, so I just recommend at least clipping it down or getting some sort of Velcro strap or something just to ensure that you don't damage anything on your actual camera itself, or the mount doesn't slip off or anything like that. Just be careful. Once the mount has actually been installed on top of your Mavic Pro, then everything is just set up and ready to go. What I actually did to make sure that everything was calibrated properly was I actually had my camera mounted on properly, I had everything set up, and then I turned my Mavic on just so it could account for the additional weight and it could calibrate and appropriately apply whatever it had to do to create the safest flying experience. Now, I highly recommend doing it that way instead of calibrating it and then installing it, because then you've added the weight and it may play around with it. So just a word of warning, make sure you set it up with the actual camera mounted and the mount itself. Even though this is a cheap mount, it has worked really well. I tested this in really high winds. The Mavic was like on an angle and everything was perfectly fine. I flew right up into the air, I flew relatively fast, and everything just stayed on perfectly. And I've actually got a video that I will have in the description below. I will have a link down there and in the comments, so actually check out the 360-degree video of me flying the Mavic. It's just a short little video so you can actually see how the footage comes out, and it is actually quite interesting mounted on top. Now, a lot of people have commented or messaged me or said, why aren't you mounting it underneath? The problem with that though is then you have to either hand launch and hand catch, or you're just going to have issues because you've got a camera sitting underneath the Mavic propping it up. It's kind of dangerous, and if you do want to hand launch, then you have to turn off the visual positioning system, which actually created some issues for me. I will have another mounting option uploading onto my YouTube channel in the coming days, and that will just show you guys how to mount something underneath. And that mount again was a 3D printed mount. We're not talking about that one obviously in this video too much, but the current one, the battery mount that mounts on top, the footage looks great. I thought that you would see a little bit more of the Mavic, or it'd be a little bit more intrusive considering it's like right underneath the actual camera itself. But it wasn't too bad at all. You got a really interesting view, and my Mavic actually has some cute little eyes on it. I've got some shark stickers, so it added a little bit of personality to the video. So, the way this mount works, like I mentioned before, it actually clips onto the battery buttons. Then there's a little hole that allows you to turn on the actual battery itself, so that's perfectly cut out, ready to go. And then behind that, you have one of the mounting options, which is a fixed mounting option, the one that I actually used and the one I'd probably recommend. That one works really well. It's just fixed on. You get quite stable footage. It obviously depends on your camera, if it has built-in stabilization, it depends on how rough the flight is. So many different factors obviously apply here, but that was my favorite mounting option. And then you have another mounting option behind that, which is a raised up option. It's like a little arm that's raised up in the air, and if you mount it on there, then obviously it will take the camera a little bit further away from the Mavic, giving you a little bit more of an interesting view. I just didn't trust this one too much though. You can tighten it and you can have quite a stable fix there, but I just preferred the mounting option in front of that one, the one behind the actual button. It was just tightly tucked there. It was right in the middle of the Mavic itself. Great weight distribution, and I was really happy with the results. So for me, that was just a really great option, and I didn't have to play with anything with this mounting option. It just took off and it was ready to go. Where other options, when you mount underneath, you have a lot more issues or a lot more kind of considerations to that come into play, I guess, when you're taking off. This mounting option actually uses a 1/4" screw. So for my 360-degree video, I used the Samsung Gear 360, the 2017 edition, and that one actually worked really well. It mounted on quite tight, and Like I mentioned, the footage was fantastic. Now, if you want to mount a GoPro on here or some sort of action camera, maybe another 360-degree camera, then all you need is a 1/4" screw. You can get adapters that go from 1/4" to a GoPro mount if you want to mount a GoPro on top. I don't know why you'd want to, as you already have a really decent camera on the Mavic. But I mean, you can mount basically whatever you want on top there. You could mount even a Barbie doll if you wanted, with a 1/4" screw into her foot, if you really wanted that. It basically just allows you to mount whatever on top. There are so many different adapters out there, so I'm sure you can find something for your camera or your Barbie doll or whatever you're mounting to the top of your Mavic. And that's basically all there is to this mounting option here. It just really gives you an interesting view if you have a 360-degree camera or some sort of other camera that you wanted to mount. A great cheap alternative, and just another fun accessory that I've added to my library of accessories for the Mavic Pro. So if you are in the market for something interesting like this, if you have a Mavic Pro and a 360-degree camera, then this is a must-have, as you can create some really fun videos here. So definitely let me know what you think in the comments below. Like I mentioned, I will have a link to that 360-degree video where I am flying through the air. You can then go into VR if you wanted, virtual reality, and experience flight on top of a Mavic. You know, you can be that Barbie doll on top of the Mavic. You can be that astronaut. Well, not really, because we're not in space, but what even is space? What's life? What's love? Thank you so much for watching, my YouTube fam. I really do appreciate all of your support. Let me know if you pick one of these up, and send me a link if you've created a cool video with this. I would love to check it out. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Have a splendiferous day, and have a schnickendacken. Peace out. Love you all.